Can you live with losing? Michael McLean, nobullbook.com, badassletter.com. The toughest advice for the toughest businessmen. Horsepower, not horse shit. My voice is a little raspy this morning after a glorious day coaching hockey Sunday afternoon out on the ice at free agent camp for my friend Bill White, my former championship general manager and head coach. Yours relentless out on the ice for 90 minutes with these young men, pushing them, challenging them, making them better, giving them options to think differently. So my question this morning to you, question to myself every single day, is can you live with losing? 99% of businessmen, entrepreneurs, and fathers can live with losing and therefore do live with losing. I get lots of faxes, some white mail, I call it, even some emails that are sent to Leanne, my assistant, from members, newsletter subscribers, book buyers, even world builders, and they send me comments about how they were doing well. You know, I walked 55 days in a row, Michael. I didn't drink alcohol for 61 days in a row. Everything was going so well. And then all of a sudden, the bad wolf visited and everything seemed to come crashing down. And my response, because I reply to every piece of white mail I get, every fax I get, every correspondence I get, because that's how a professional works and deals in business, is I always reply explaining that excuses are unacceptable. And when you say the whole point of having habits, the whole point of having rituals, what I talk about here, the whole point about having personal rules. I have like 11 personal rules that I've made in my life. It's a list of things that I do, and it's a list of things that I never do. I write every day for an hour. I walk every day for an hour. I read a minimum 1 hour per day. I don't drink alcohol. All kinds of different things. I don't eat foods that make me tired, weak, and older. I drink 1 gallon of water per day. I organize and book and reserve date night every week for my queen. These are my partial list of my 11 rules. And what these rules do is they eliminate the bad wolf taking over my life in any part. So there's the good white wolf on one shoulder, there's the bad wolf on the other shoulder. We all live with this as human beings. But stop making the excuse because you slip up or make a mistake or make bad judgment. Forgive yourself and move on. But the secret is rules and rituals and habits, especially rules. There's nothing more powerful in your personal or business life than rules. Not rituals, not habits. Hard and fast, unfuckwithable rules. Non-negotiable rules. When I go to a cookout or I go to a barbecue, I don't drink alcohol because I have a personal rule that I don't drink alcohol. And I don't have to use any of this nonsense about willpower because I no longer purchase it. I no longer have it in my home, so I rarely have to use any willpower. People ask me one time, would you like a drink? I answer, sure, I'll have a water. And very simple, I'm not using willpower. Willpower doesn't work. I had a book buyer say to me yesterday, He had put in something like 90 straight days. He was doing well. He's walking. He was reading every day. He started writing. And he had been alcohol free for close to 3 months. 3 months without a drop of alcohol. And his life has gone off the rails in July. Well, the excuse was, of course, it's summer, right? So it's summertime. You got to get pissed every day. Like, it's such fucking horseshit. It annoys me to no end. Because if that's the excuse, then there's always an excuse to put poison in your body. Well, it's Christmas. Well, it's Thanksgiving. Well, it's my birthday, so I deserve to drink. It's my kid's graduation. Oh, it's Super Bowl. Oh, it's the World Series. Oh, we were fishing. Oh, we were on vacation. Oh, we took the kids to Disney. Like, you're awash in this nonsense. So I don't get the deal with alcohol in terms of stopping something that's poisoning your life. If you're the type of person who can have a few drinks and has no effect whatsoever on your health or your family or your marriage or your kids, then have at it. I don't look down on people that drink. I mean, I was a heavy drinker for 3 decades. But the point of the matter is, don't send me excuses. Don't tell me that you're committed to doing something like stopping drinking alcohol, but then you buy alcohol and you have alcohol in your home. As an example of the power of environment, if you have alcohol in your home, then you are not committed to sobriety. You're fooling yourself, you're lying to yourself, you're lying to your wife, you're lying to your children. If you purchase alcohol, if you have alcohol in your home, I don't give a shit whether you've been sober for 90 days or 9 years. You are not committed to sobriety. That's like somebody trying to give up smoking or tobacco, and you go out and you have cigarettes in your home, you have cigarettes in your office, and you buy cigarettes, but Michael, I don't smoke anymore. So environment really matters. Like, nothing is more powerful than your environment. And the reason I teach rules, which nobody else under the sun teaches, they teach willpower. Why do you think coaches, these goofy life coaches and sleep coaches and nutrition coaches and all these people, why do you think they preach willpower? Well, you just need to want it more. You just need a more burning desire. You need to set bigger goals and all this horse shit. That stuff's important, but that's not the defining thing. Your environment, I'm going to say it again, your environment defines you. Your home, your vehicle, your home office, your environment is what defines you. If you want to change any area in your life, it starts and ends by changing your environment. You want to change, you want to eat less processed white sugar, take a garbage bag, go around your home and throw out everything that's in a box, everything that's in a bag, everything that contains processed white sugar. Very simple. Throw it out, never buy it again. Don't bring it in your home. Very, very simple concept. You want to eat less processed white flour. It's all through carbs. That stuff packs on the pounds every bite. You want to stop eating processed white flour. Get out the garbage bag, go around the kitchen, go around your home, and throw out every single thing that has processed white flour in it. Same thing with processed white salt. You know, there's good salts. There's nothing wrong with salt in moderation. There's nothing wrong with anything in moderation. But go around and throw that stuff out. And here's the thing. Never buy it again. Never bring it in your environment. You never have to use willpower again. Just by these simple decisions to clean up your own environment, your own house, your own office, that's going to stop 85% of this behavior at the door. Sure, you're going to run into bad foods and alcohol when you're out socializing, but that's only going to be about 15% of the time. So if you clean your home of these things that you say you no longer want, well, guess what? You've won the battle already. You've won the battle without using any willpower. And by the way, like I was commenting on, the reason that these coaches, these pretend gurus, these pretend experts talk about, well, if you slip up, it's your fault, and you need to set bigger goals, and you need a burning desire. You know why you know why they believe in willpower? They sell willpower because it doesn't fucking work. Willpower doesn't work. I've worked in addictions. I've worked in the criminal system when I was younger. I've worked with youth in group homes, in the jails. Willpower doesn't work. And I know that personally anytime I've tried to use willpower. But if a person continues to fail, then that's good for business. If you're a coach or you're a consultant or you're a sleep coach or a nutritionist or a mental health expert, they're preaching something that does not work. Now, I preach the opposite. I preach that willpower, okay, it doesn't work. You've got to have habits, you've got to have lifestyle, and most importantly, you have to have rules in your life. But here's the thing that upsets me the most about these faxes and these emails and this white mail that I get is that all of a sudden you're doing so well. You've got 90 days under your belt of success. You're growing, you're contributing, your marriage is improving, your relationship with your kids is getting better. You're not drinking, you're eating better, you're walking, you're drinking water, you're writing, all these victories day after day. And you slip up for one day, or you slip up for 2 days, and it bleeds into the rest of the week, it bleeds into the rest of the month, and it bleeds into the rest of the year. That's the exact opposite of what I teach here. That's the exact polar opposite of what I teach here. I teach rules and habits so that the bad wolf has one day, has one fucking day, 24 hours. It's just like winning. Winning has one day. When I win a Barclay Cup, I celebrate for 24, 48 hours tops. When I get done writing a book, I celebrate for 24 hours. When I have a big victory, win some award, something goes really, really well, my 24-hour rule, I celebrate for 24 hours. Maybe I have pizza, maybe have a barbecue, maybe, I don't know, go out to dinner with my wife. I celebrate mentally for 24 hours. Well, that's the same with bad habits. We're human beings. You need to forgive yourself and you need to move on instead of defaulting to all these other negative feelings. I don't think that feelings should have anything to do with your rules. Well, Michael, I was feeling a little depressed. Michael, I was feeling a little anxious. Well, that means you were living in the future mentally, and depressed means you were living in the past. Well, I was feeling a little unhappy. That's just a feeling that you have control over. How about defaulting to being relentless? You forgive yourself. You know what? Michael, I had a few drinks. Or Michael, I miss my writing and my reading. Michael, I haven't been following my things for the last couple days. Okay, great job. So has everybody else slipped up. Forgive yourself, but then get back on the wagon. And the wagon is your rules. This is the whole point. Most people, they fall off of a diet or they slip up when they're trying to stop smoking or whatever the hell it is. And then they do that. The bad wolf rules their life for the next 2 years. And I'm saying my point is with solid rules in place, okay, you kill that bad wolf the next day. Well, Michael, I ate all the foods I shouldn't have on the weekend. You know, well, guess what? It's Monday, you're back, you've got your rules, and cut that shit out of your life again and stop buying it. Don't make excuses, okay, that you slipped up and you drank when you have alcohol in your house. Don't say you slipped up and you started smoking again when you bought cigarettes or all these different things. Our environment is absolutely huge. Everybody, and this is important, you and me, everybody has a default emotion when it comes to adversity. So when things aren't going our way, and this is important, when you're feeling under pressure, when you're feeling, maybe stressed, We all have one default emotion. And for 99% of people, that default emotion is a negative manufactured emotion. In other words, I'm feeling stressed, so I feel unhappy. I'm feeling stressed. I've gone through a little bit of adversity. I feel anxious. And then, adversity, I feel unhappy, or I feel this. And then you have the 1% who are like, man, I feel this adversity. I feel powerful. That's their default emotion. I feel relentless. I feel like energetic. And that's why you have champions and you have chumps. That's why you have contenders and you have pretenders. And that's why you have excuse makers or you have badass kings. But you need to leave the excuses at the door. You need to admit fault, and then you need to forgive. There's a word. Forgive yourself for being your human being, and then get right back at it. And that's what rules are for. You slip up, boom, admit it, take responsibility, and fucking fix it. Fix it. That's the most important thing, is not let it bleed into next day and bleed into the next week and bleed into the next month. Is admit it and fix it. And that's the way. You're back on the wagon. Now you're going to put 7 days together, 14 days together, 21 days, 30 days, and away you go. But just be aware of the emotion. There's always one that we default to. And like I said, forget happiness and let's focus on being relentless and really, really important. This is why we have, champions. This is why you have people that are addicted to drugs and alcohol. It's because of those default emotions. Some businessmen want to default into escape, right? They don't want to deal with the stress. They don't want to deal with the pressure. Well, that's a default, right? Drugs and alcohol are a default. Social media is a negative default. The mainstream news is a default into negativity. Being buried in your phone, you're escaping into default negative emotion and behavior. And then you have the badass king way, which is on that side, you're like, you know what? I'm going to exercise. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to hit things. I'm going to go out and hit 100 balls. I'm going to go in the batting cage. I'm going to take my kids somewhere so I can be a kid for an hour. Those are positive emotions, almost positive escapes. I'm going to read. I'm going to have a nap, whatever it is. And that separates the 99% ordinary from the top 1% badass kings. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing, and I told the players this yesterday. Can you live with losing? 99% of the population can live with losing, no matter what they say. Oh, that was a tough loss. And I'm like, bullshit it was. I said, 10 minutes from now, you won't even remember it. And that's the 99%. You need to be the 1% that has that standard that says, you know what? I'm fat. I'm carrying like 40 pounds that I shouldn't be. Where's your personal pride? It shouldn't be about me motivating you. It shouldn't be about a book. It shouldn't be about any of that stuff. It shouldn't be about your kids or your wife telling you need to lose weight. It should be about personal pride, which has disappeared from our world like no other. And I was telling the players yesterday, I said, when you play in a championship culture, and a hockey team is an example, it's all about not being able to live with losing. I mean, Lou Holtz said this best when he was at Notre Dame and they won the national championship in '88, way back in 1988. And he said to his players, he said, everybody wants to win. The homeless person on the street, the guy in the top, every single person, every man or woman always wants to win, right? Do you want to win? Sure, I want to win. But it's the 1% that can't live with losing that actually has the best opportunity to win. They have those high standards where they're like, you know what? It's unacceptable that I don't drink a gallon of water a day. It's unacceptable that I skipped my reading. It's unacceptable that I didn't organize a date night and put it on the calendar. It's unacceptable that I didn't spend time today with my children. It's unacceptable that I didn't send those 5 thank you cards today, because those people went out of their way to improve my life and help me. It's unacceptable that I drink alcohol, that I check out on my wife and I check out on my kids. It's unacceptable that I hide in politics, theater for the ugly. It's unacceptable that I'm a grown man who spends time on anti-social media. It's unacceptable that I'm lost in the internet. It's unacceptable I don't have a day where I'm technology free. It's unacceptable that my kids see me on my phone instead of reading great books, and on and on. It's unacceptable that I'm a high risk for diabetes, stroke, and heart disease. And as the king, if something happens to you, then what the fuck is going to happen to your children and to your wife? Okay? You can't be a king if you're suffering from poor health. You know, when I talk to my good Lord every morning, what's the first thing I'm grateful for, that I say thank you to God for? I thank him for my vitality, for my health, and another day. Without my health, the number one wealth, what good am I to my wife? What good am I to my daughter? What good am I to my future grandkids? I'm a fucking burden. If I'm not dead, I'm a fucking future burden. So think about these things and hold yourself accountable and start taking losing personally. Well, Michael, it's not personal. When I was fired after 2.5 years of putting my life on the line in pro hockey, it wasn't personal. You're damn right it was personal. I go home and my dad says, you should have done a better job. It is personal. Take it personal. You slipped up, take it personal. You're back drinking 99%. Look around, everything. Nothing screams ordinary. Nothing screams average. Nothing screams quiet desperation more than the things we've talked about this morning. And if you're looking around at the guy beside you and you're thinking like he is, and you're behaving like he is, whether it's drinking, whether it's smoking, whether it's the food you eat, whether it's the books you read, whether it's that cell phone in your hand, you're never, ever, ever going to get to have an extraordinary life, because you have an ordinary environment. You have ordinary thinking, you have ordinary behavior, so you have nobody to blame but yourself. And you can write me letters and you can write me emails and you can send me faxes looking for me to pat you on the back, but I won't do it. I won't do it. My job is to make you feel worse, not better. My job as a coach, when you lose, when you let down your wife, when you let down your son and your daughter and your grandkids and the people that depend on you, my job as a real coach, not as some pretend guru, is to make you feel worse and to make that losing sting. You think the greats in our world, you think that even though Tiger Woods is, well past his prime, he's been in a car accident, he fights back, the whole thing. You still don't think that those losses sting to a guy like that? Do you think that Michael Jordan do you think losing didn't affect him? What about Sidney Crosby? He's at home now for 4 months because the Penguins got beat out in the first round in a 7-game series. That guy is he's like in despair for 5 months of training. He uses that shit as fuel. But those guys take losing personally. They take losing personally. It's like dying to them. Like I tell my players, practice is like dying. Losing is like dying. And that's the only way you're ever going to build the world and the kingdom that you want. That losing is unacceptable and it makes you sick to your stomach. I always look for that in that rare breed. And, I wouldn't want a business now that has employees. I've said that several times. I'm blessed to have Marc-Andre as a business partner and Leanne as my executive assistant. And, Mark is a very intelligent guy. He's 24 years old. He's a total outlier. He's the opposite of every 24-year-old out there. He's a 1%er of 1%. And that's great. And Leanne, she's a 1%er too. She's made a life for herself with no role models. She reminds me of my father, where she looked around when she was a young person and said, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but I don't want this for me. I don't want this life for children if I have them. I don't want this life for me. And her, like my dad, used the Earl Nightingale teaching, where if you don't have any role models, you don't have anybody to look up to, everybody around you is a tomato can. She did the right thing like my dad did, and she said, I at least now know to do the fucking opposite, to look around and do the opposite. And that's how they've made a life for themselves. That's how my dad has made a life. That's how Leanne's made a life. And that's how Marc-Andre, he has that opposite mentality. But here's the thing. All three of those people I just mentioned, okay, this is the thing that I picked up on them before I hired them. Marc-Andre played 4 years for me. 4 years for me. Can you imagine? You fucking better have thick skin. You're playing for me when you're 17. He was on the 4th line. Then he was on the 3rd line. Then he worked to the 2nd line. Then he got up to the top line. But 4 years of being held accountable. 4 years of no excuses. The same with Leanne. I saw her running her company. I saw her putting in 80 hours a week, 90 hours a week, working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, cleaning our office, cleaning our house. And you know what? People, I just get that feeling when they're a 1%er that they can't live with losing. Marc-Andre can't live with losing. That's the only reason he's my business partner. The intelligence and all that stuff, that's fantastic. He can't live with losing. The same for Leanne. She's learning the business. She's been with me for a year now. She makes mistakes. She's learning stuff. She's changing her world. She's doing a great job, but she can't live with losing. I want people that are upset when we make mistakes. I want people that lose sleep when we don't do the job we're supposed to do, because that's exactly the way I'm wired, okay? That's exactly the way I'm wired. I'm out there last night pounding like 200 tennis balls with Jeff Dean, and I'm getting out frustration, and I'm getting out anxiety, and I'm getting out stress. And then when I leave there, I'm like ready for the next week. When I'm out on the ice with those kids, I'm like, if there's one mistake on the ice, I blow it down. Why is that? That's accountability, and I can't live with losing. If I allow that mistake, if I allow that soft play in practice in July, then that's going to cost them a playoff game or a championship in April, and that's going to be losing. So I don't accept losing even in July on the ice. I don't accept losing in August. I don't accept losing at any time, because I don't want that stuff to bleed into my life. And if you're letting it bleed into your life, if you're letting bad days, we all have bad days, if you're letting bad days bleed into your life, that's your own fault. That means you don't have rules, you don't have structure, and that you're okay with losing. And your kids are watching your response. Your wife's watching your response. When the king does not rise, the kingdom dies. Well, when does a king not rise? When you don't show up? When you're not there mentally for your wife and your children, when you accept losing. That's when the king doesn't rise. When you accept losing. You brush it off. You brush it off like a last place NFL team, like a horseshit college program. You brush it off instead of holding yourself accountable, forgiving yourself and saying, tomorrow's a brand new day. I no longer blank. I no longer blank. I no longer blank. And getting back into the habits of champions. So, as talking about habits of champions before I run out of my voice here, badassletter.com. We're coming down to the deadline. I'm editing the newsletter today. I've got 12 pages of kick-ass information you won't even believe. I have worked days, even 2 weeks on this for 12 pages. I've put in, I put in a day per page. Think about that commitment. A 12-page newsletter. I put in almost, after today and tomorrow, that's 12 pages, 12 days. Well, Michael, that doesn't seem very productive. Are you kidding me? That's heart and that's soul into paper and ink. That is, I have 10,000 ideas in my head for that newsletter. Marc-Andre and Leanne, they get it down to 12 pages. When I send the next edition to Marc-Andre and Leanne to proof today and again tomorrow, it'll be like 25 pages. Their job is to get it down to 14, then to 12. because I'm relentless. I can't stop. I want to share so much. I want to give you every idea. I want to tell you this story. I want to share this aha moment with you. So it's been 12 days of work for this 12-page newsletter. If that's not worth $3.23 for you, I can't help you. There's no email or fax you can send me or complaint you can make or excuse that's going to change. This newsletter is for men that can't live with losing. This is for men that are sick to their stomach when they come up short. Men that are sick to their stomach when they don't show up the way they should in their kingdom. That's who this newsletter's for. Badassletter.com. The deadline is coming up in the next 2 days. I'll send you one of these nice shirts that reminds you to show up, to take things personally, and to take losing personally, and to be sick to your stomach when you come up short. Badassletter.com. If you haven't got a copy of my book, start there. NoBullBook.com. 25 rules that'll transform your life, transform your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your physical, mental health, time management, the whole enchilada. So that's it. I've got about, looks like about 30 more minutes of walking. And then today is a writing and editing day. When I went to bed last night, I gave my subconscious for about the 12th day in a row the same instruction after gratitude. Is one thing to work on when I sleep. How can I help more businessmen build a kingdom of their dreams? How can I write this newsletter to help more businessmen transform their life into the world of their dreams? And then I woke up this morning with all kinds of ideas. My subconscious worked on it all night for the last 12 nights, asking great questions. How can I serve more? How can I make a bigger difference? How can I give more? How can I make more of a difference? How can I inspire and motivate? But at the end of the day, you need to inspire and motivate yourself by taking losing personally and for and being sick to your stomach when you know you haven't shown up. If you're not a 9 out of a 10 in any area of your life, you're not showing up. And that should make you sick to your stomach. That should make you puke as a king. And you should fix that with the inspiration of the fact that you know you're lying to yourself, you're lying to your family, you're lying to your kids. Unacceptable 99% behavior. Smarten up, screw it on straight, and get back and kick that bad wolf in the ass. He doesn't live here. He visits. And then he gets kicked to the curb. If he's been to visit you, make sure his visit is short and you kick him to the curb. 2 words that have changed my life, 2 words that'll change your life. Be relentless.